Ever looked at a coin and felt like it's more than just pocket change? The 2005 South Africa 5 Rand and the 1990 South Africa 2 Rand are perfect examples. Two coins from different eras, each carrying its own unique story, design, and value. One shows the fierce power of the Black Wildebeest in a modern bimetallic frame, while the other reflects the elegance and history of a nation in transition. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just curious, these coins aren't just money. They're miniature time capsules waiting to reveal their secrets. Let's uncover the treasures they hold. If you've ever picked up a coin and felt like it has more personality than just its buying power, the 2005 South Africa 5 Rand coin will absolutely prove you right. This is not just any coin you find in your pocket. It's a blend of history, national pride, and craftsmanship that collectors and coin lovers appreciate worldwide. It's bold, it's beautiful, and it's got a story that stretches beyond the metal it's made of. Whether you're holding it for the first time or just rediscovering it after years, this is the kind of coin that makes you stop and really take a closer look. Let's start with the basics. The South African 5 Rand coin was originally introduced back in 1994, replacing the 5 Rand banknote. That change wasn't just for fun. It was a cost-saving measure because coins last much longer than paper money. But there was a problem. By the early 2000s, counterfeiters had their eyes on the 5 Rand. The older single-metal version was easier to fake, and fake coins began appearing in circulation. This was damaging public trust and hurting the economy. The South African Reserve Bank had to take action. In 2004, they launched a redesigned 5 Rand coin with advanced security features, and the 2005 version followed shortly after. This was the early period of the bimetallic design, and it looked and felt premium. The golden-colored nickel brass center surrounded by a silvery copper-nickel ring gave it a distinct two-tone appearance that stood out from any other coin in South African pockets. At 26 millimeters in diameter and weighing about 9.5 grams, it's noticeably larger and heavier than most coins, giving it a sense of importance. On the obverse side of the 2005 coin, you'll find the South African coat of arms. This emblem is bursting with meaning. At the top is a rising sun, a symbol of rebirth and promise. Just below it is the secretary bird, wings spread wide in a protective stance. This bird is known for its power and grace. It's a hunter that can take down snakes, which ties into the symbolism of protection. Below that, you'll see a shield with a human figure, representing unity and heritage, and a beautiful protea flower, South Africa's national flower, which stands for beauty and the blossoming of the nation. Flanking the shield are a spear and knobkerrie, traditional weapons that represent defense and authority. And running along the base is the motto, Kudu, Zera K, from the Khoisan language of the /XAM people, meaning diverse people unite. It's not just a design, it's a message of unity, resilience, and pride. Turn the coin over to the reverse side, and there's the star of the show, the Black Wildebeest, or Nu. Captured mid-stride, it looks like it's charging across the coin's surface, full of life and energy. The wildebeest is a fitting symbol. It's fast, strong, and capable of long migrations, representing endurance and adaptability. Above the animal, 5 Rand is boldly inscribed, and the year, 2005, sits proudly below. The entire design is simple, yet powerful, and instantly recognizable to anyone familiar with South African currency. The security features on this coin are no joke. Aside from the bimetallic construction, the 2005 5 Rand has fine grooves on the edges and even micro-lettering that's nearly impossible to see without magnification. These details make counterfeiting incredibly difficult, and they were a big reason why the Reserve Bank's redesign succeeded in stopping the flood of fake coins. When it comes to collector value, most 2005 5 Rand coins in circulation today are worth their face value. But condition changes everything. A coin in uncirculated condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear, can fetch several times its face value from collectors. Proof coins, which are specially minted for collectors with mirror-like backgrounds and frosted details, can be worth even more, often sold in official South African mint sets that make them extra desirable. Then there's the wild card, error coins. These are coins that left the mint with mistakes. Maybe the strike was off-center, maybe there's doubling in the text, or maybe part of the design is missing. Error coins are like the rare misprints of the coin world, and collectors can pay big money for them. While errors in the 2005 5 Rand aren't common, they do exist, and if you find one in excellent condition, you might just have something worth hundreds of dollars. The history behind this coin adds even more depth. By 2005, South Africa had been a democracy for just over a decade, and the country was still in a period of growth, optimism, and change. Coins like this were part of daily life, used for taxi fares, street market snacks, and little purchases that became part of everyday memories. That's why so many South Africans feel a sense of nostalgia when they see one. It's not just a coin, it's a reminder of a time and place in their lives. From an international perspective, South African coins have been getting more attention in recent years. The Krugerrand gold coin might be the country's most famous, but coins like the 5 Rand have a charm all their own. They're affordable, accessible, and offer a unique look into South Africa's culture and history. For beginner collectors, the 2005 5 Rand is a perfect entry point. It's easy to find in South Africa, but also has enough design and historical interest to keep you hooked. Another thing to note is the coin's durability. Thanks to the mix of nickel brass and copper nickel, the coin resists corrosion and keeps its color remarkably well. That means even coins that have been in circulation for nearly 2 decades can still look great. Of course, if you have a really pristine one, you'll want to store it properly, in a plastic coin holder or capsule, to protect its condition. Cleaning coins, especially collectible ones, is generally a bad idea, since it can scratch the surface and lower the value. For collectors who love building year sets, the 2005 coin is a must-have. It represents the early years of the bimetallic design, which is still used today. Some collectors even go for type sets, which means collecting one example of every major design change in a country's currency. In that case, the 2005 coin is a milestone in South Africa's modern coinage. There's also something undeniably satisfying about the tactile feel of this coin. It's heavier and larger than most coins in your change, so when you pick it up, you instantly know it's something different. That weight and size give it a certain prestige. It's not the kind of coin you overlook. And in a way, that's fitting, because its design and story deserve to be noticed. So, what should you do if you come across a 2005 South Africa 5 Rand coin? First, check its condition. Look for sharp details, clear lettering, and a shiny surface. If it's uncirculated, set it aside. It's already worth keeping. Next, check for unusual features or errors. Even small anomalies can make a big difference in value. And finally, think about holding on to it for the long term. As years go by, coins like this tend to become more desirable, especially in high grades. At the end of the day, the 2005 South Africa 5 Rand coin is more than just a piece of change. It's a small work of art, a piece of national identity, and a symbol of a moment in history. From the powerful wildebeest on its reverse to the deeply meaningful coat of arms on its obverse, every detail has a story. Whether you keep it for sentimental reasons, as part of a collection, or just because it's a beautiful coin, you're holding something special. Next up, we're rolling back the clock to 1990, a year that was anything but ordinary for South Africa. This was a time of historic change, a moment when the world's eyes were fixed on the country, and even its coins were silent witnesses to history in the making. The 1990 South Africa 2 Rand coin might seem like a simple piece of money at first glance, but once you dig into its design, its symbolism, and its place in the nation's story, you start to realize that this little disc of metal is far more than spare change. It's a time capsule, and every scratch and detail tells part of the tale. Let's start with the basics. The South African 2 Rand coin was first introduced in 1989, replacing the 2 Rand banknote. Like the 5 Rand changeover that would happen years later, this was mainly for durability. Banknotes wear out fast. Coins can circulate for decades. The 1990 version was part of the early production run and came at a fascinating time, just months before Nelson Mandela was released from prison and the political landscape began shifting dramatically. This coin is made of nickel, giving it a distinctive silvery tone and a solid, satisfying weight. Measuring 23 millimeters in diameter and weighing about 6.5 grams, it's smaller and lighter than the 5 Rand, but still feels substantial in your hand. The edge is reeded, with those fine vertical grooves that not only make the coin look good, but also act as a small anti-counterfeiting feature. On the obverse side, you'll find the South African coat of arms, but not the modern one you see today. This is the pre-2000 coat of arms, a design that had been in use for decades and carried deep colonial and early national symbolism. At the top sits a lion holding 4 rods bound together, symbolizing strength through unity. Below that, you'll find a shield quartered into 4 panels, one with an image of a wildebeest, another with a pair of human figures, a third with a bunch of flowers, and a fourth with a sailing ship. Each panel representing aspects of South Africa's history, economy, and natural beauty. The shield is flanked by 2 springboks, South Africa's national animal, which also appears on other coins like the Krugerrand. Beneath all this is the motto Ex Unitate Vires, which is Latin for from unity, strength. It's a powerful message, especially given that 1990 was a year when unity was about to be tested and redefined. Flip the coin over to the reverse side, and you're met with a design that's both elegant and distinctly South African. The image of a graceful kudu, a type of antelope known for its long, spiraling horns. The kudu has been a beloved subject in South African coinage for decades, appearing on various denominations. On the 2 rand coin, it's shown in profile, with its head slightly turned, giving the viewer a clear view of those iconic horns. The artistry here is impressive. Despite being so small, the details in the kudu's face, neck, and horns are finely rendered. Above the animal is the denomination 2 rand, bold and easy to read, while the year 1990 sits below. Now, the choice of the kudu is no accident. In African culture, the kudu is often seen as a symbol of grace, beauty, and alertness. For the South African Mint, it was also a unifying symbol, something that all South Africans could recognize and appreciate regardless of background. The kudu's elegance and strength mirrored the ideals the country aspired to during its times of change. When it comes to minting quality, the 1992 rand was struck to a high standard for circulation coins. These were everyday workhorse coins, meant to survive years of handling. Yet their designs remained surprisingly crisp even on well-used examples. Proof versions were also produced, packaged in protective cases and sold to collectors, featuring mirror-like fields and frosted designs. These proof coins are especially prized today because they capture every design detail in perfect clarity. Collector value is an interesting topic for the 1992 rand. In circulated condition, it's generally worth face value, about 2 rand in South Africa, or just a few cents internationally. But condition changes the game. Uncirculated or proof coins can fetch several dollars, sometimes more if sold to a dedicated South African coin collector. Then there's the rare factor, error coins. These could be off-center strikes, coins with doubled images, or even one struck on the wrong planchet, blank coin disc. Such errors are scarce and can turn a coin that's normally worth a couple of bucks into something worth 50 or more, depending on the rarity and condition. The historical backdrop of 1990 adds another layer of meaning. This was the year Nelson Mandela was freed, political parties were unbanned, and negotiations began to end apartheid. The country was on the cusp of transformation. Every coin minted that year was part of everyday transactions in a society undergoing dramatic change. Imagine paying for a loaf of bread with this coin in February 1990, the very same month Mandela walked free after 27 years in prison. That's the sort of historical resonance that makes coins like this so compelling to collect. From a design evolution standpoint, the 1992 rand also marks the early years of the denomination's life as a coin rather than a banknote. Over the years, the coin would see changes in metal composition and design, but the kudu has remained a constant, proof of how iconic the image is. For collectors building a full set of South African 2 rand coins, the 1990 issue is a must-have, not just because it's one of the earliest, but because of its link to such a pivotal year. For storage and preservation, the same rules apply here as with the 5 rand. Never clean the coin, especially if you think it might be valuable. Cleaning can damage the surface and lower its collector appeal. Store it in a coin holder or capsule to prevent scratches, and keep it away from moisture to avoid tarnishing. Even though it's nickel and fairly resistant to corrosion, the oils from your fingers can cause dull spots over time. In terms of international interest, South African coins have been gaining more attention from collectors around the world. While gold coins like the Krugerrand dominate the spotlight, silver-toned circulation coins like the 1992 Rand have their own growing fanbase, especially among those who enjoy world coins with strong cultural and historical themes. It's an affordable way to own a piece of South African history without breaking the bank. There's also something to be said for the emotional side of collecting coins like this. For South Africans who lived through the 1990s, holding a 1992 Rand can bring back a flood of memories of the shops, markets, and daily life during a time of uncertainty and hope. For younger collectors, it's a tangible connection to a period they've only read about in history books. That's the beauty of coins. They bridge generations in a way few other objects can. And then there's the simple pleasure of the design itself. The Kudu's proud horns, the old coat of arms, the bold 2 Rand marking. It all works together to make a coin that's both functional and beautiful. Even if you knew nothing about South Africa, you could look at this coin and appreciate the artistry that went into it. So what's the takeaway? The 1990 South Africa 2 Rand coin might not make you rich overnight, but its value goes beyond money. It's a well-crafted piece of history, a reminder of a turning point in a nation's journey, and a worthy addition to any collection.